evening everybody. Hope you're all still safe and well, not going to stir crazy on lockdown. So the class tonight we're going to sit in, start off sitting cross-legged, and I just want you to just sit in just to try and get a nice equal weight through both of those seat bones. So if you sit on your hands, you feel underneath two bony bits, which are your seat bones or your sit bones, depending on what you want to call them. So we're just going to try and get those nice and even down into that mat. So you don't want to be either tucking them underneath you, because that will make your upper body lean back, and you don't want to push them out behind you. It's quite hard to push them out behind you, but you don't want to be doing either of those. So just have a little feel with your seat bones, just feel them as you do with your feet, feel them just sinking down into that mat. Try and think about the crown of the head just coming up towards the ceiling. As you think about the feeling of the crown coming up towards the ceiling, make sure those shoulders don't lift. So think shoulders nicely slid down, tummy button scoop back, so you're starting just to switch on with that core. Crown just floating up away towards the ceiling. I'm just going to start gently with the hands down on the mat, palms facing up. I'm just going to take an inhale, take those arms slowly up over the head. As you exhale, you're just going to open the arms back out again. As you're doing it, try and think about the shoulders staying where they are, so they're not starting to come up towards the ceiling, so they're staying nicely down your back. Think about staying connected to the mat through those seat bones. Really drawing the breath nice and wide and fall out into those ribs. So we're not thinking about drawing the breath down as in traditional deep breathing. You're thinking about nice and wide and full. So really focus on those ribs expanding, and then those lungs completely emptying as you exhale. Okay, we can do 2 more of those. Head floating away, don't forget. And slowly down with your last one. Okay, so we're just going to change the position of the arms. So you're just going to take them forward, so they're clasped with the palms facing towards you. And again, we're going to think about that breath. So you're going to prepare. As you inhale, you're going to open the chest. Take those hands back as far as you can. And then as you exhale, take the hands clasped back together and just drop that head gently forward. And again, inhale, think about the head floating up. Think about the space increasing through this part, which might be a little bit tight, especially if you've been sitting more than normal or a little bit tense. Really focusing on opening without bringing those shoulders up. And then exhale, clasp the hands, gently dropping that head forward. So no rush, just move nice and slowly. We'll just do 2 more of those. Again, really focus on that opening through the chest. Gently dropping forward. 1 more. And last one. Good. Okay, so just give the arms a rest for a second. Give the shoulders a little bit of a circle around if they're a little bit stiff. Okay. And then we're just going to start now with your hands clasped in the other direction, so palms facing away from you. And we're just going to take those arms up and over the head. Don't lift the shoulders, so, and you can just take them a little bit further back if you can. Then take them over the head, and we're just going to gently go over to the side. And again, back into the centre, reaching up, back a little bit if you can. Hands back over the head, over to the side. And again, back into the centre, stretching up, a little bit back if you can. Back to the centre, over, back to the centre, a little stretch back if you can. Hands back over the head, and last one. Good. Okay. Again, that you might have found that was a little bit uncomfortable on the shoulders. So just take those shoulders back in some big rolls backwards, and then just some big rolls forwards, and again backwards. I hear a bit of crunching, I know I am. And then a big roll backwards and just drop those shoulders down the back. Okay, so we're going to take the feet together now and just place your hands on your feet, and then we're just going to think about those knees just coming down towards that mat. So you'll be feeling that stretch just down the inner thigh. If you want to increase that a little bit, you can just lean forward slightly over your feet, and you'll just feel that increase. So just breathing through that stretch. Once you find that you've settled into a stretch, you can just ask for a tiny little bit more. So it should feel quite nice, a little bit painful, but not too bad. So just breathing through that stretch, feel that stretch through that inner thigh. Just hold and breathe. Don't allow your knees to bounce up and down. You want to hold a nice steady stretch. And release. Good. Okay, so we're going to come straight over now into your cat position. So think about arms being nice and straight, hands underneath your shoulders, knees nicely underneath the hips, nice and neutral in the spine. And imagine your head as an extension of that spine, which it is really up until your skull starts. So think about coming nice and long through the spine. And then we'll just start off just warming that back up a little bit. So back coming up towards the ceiling, gently dropping down. So as you take your back down, tummy down towards the mat, make sure that you're not really shoving your head back. It just wants to gently come back, so you're not compressing that upper spine. And then just let the head just drop nice and heavy back, feeling as if it's coming up towards that ceiling. Okay, and then just push back into your child's pose. Take the hands onto the feet if you want to. Just allow that back just to stretch and settle for a minute. So a couple of breaths in your child's pose. And then when you're ready, you're going to push back up into your cat position. So if, like me, you're horrendously tight through your hamstrings, you might find this next one quite uncomfortable, but we'll give it a go. So just stick within your own bodies. The optimum position for this next one is to have your heels on the floor. As I say, my hamstrings are horrendously tight, so no chance with me, but you guys might be a little bit more blessed with supple hamstrings. So if you are, then feel free to work within your own bodies. So just taking your feet, your toes underneath you, I'm just going to push up into that downward dog position. So as I say, your optimum position is with your feet on the floor, but there's no chance mine are going to do that. You might be able to. And then we're just going to just start just by lifting the heel on one foot and slightly bending the knee, and then just pushing that heel down, the opposite heel down towards the floor. And again, just lifting one heel and slightly bending the leg, pushing that other heel down onto the floor. And we'll just keep moving nice and slowly. You might find just pushing your weight back a little bit might just help, but just gently. So move slowly and hold the stretch. We'll do one more slowly on each foot. Good, okay. And then we're going to just drop down gently onto your knees. Just push back, give that back a stretch off again. So you're in your child's pose. Okay, so we're just going to look at one more stretching type exercise before we move on to a different position. So I'm going to start in, as I say, your cat position, which you should have a nice neutral spine. You don't want to be pushed back or pushed forward. You want the nice points nice and equal and nicely aligned under the correct parts of the body. So we're going to start off with your thread and needle exercise. We've done this one before, so you're going to take your palm so it's facing up. You're going to take the hand under, and whereas we usually just use this and make sure our pelvis stays nice and neutral, we're going to take the arm through and we're going to take the shoulder right down onto that floor, so we're using it more as a stretch. You're going to pop your other arm into a straight position. If you can, the arm that's gone underneath is going to go around and hug your back. And then we just hold in that position. So a nice twist through that spine. Just hold that stretch gently. Then just take your outstretched arm back and just help push yourself up. And then we're going to do the same thing. So you're going to take that arm all the way through. Take that arm that's gone through and hug it over your back, and take your other arm into that straight position. And just hold that stretch. And then take your outstretched arm back. Push yourself back up into your 4-point kneeling. Then again, you can take that arm through, drop down onto that shoulder, take the arm around and hug yourself if you can. And then outstretched in front of you with the other arm. Bring that outstretched arm back. Come up into your starting position. And we'll do one more on the other side. So through with that arm, drop down. Hug yourself around your back if you can, and then outstretched with your other arm. You might find one side that this arm that goes around the back finds it easier on one side than the other. I know I do. And that outstretched arm just help bring you back up into that position. Okay, right then, so you should be feeling a little bit more supple now. So we're going to come down now into your onto your back in your rest pose. So knees bent, and just take a minute just to feel how your back is feeling on that mat. So you're just going to gently start to find that neutral pelvis. So you're just bringing the hips up towards your head, gently tilting them down towards your feet. Try and keep a nice level feel as you're going through those movements. And then You're going to come into what we call your neutral pelvis, so just make the movement a little bit smaller and smaller each time. And just come to rest just somewhere in the centre. So you want to be somewhere where your hip bones are fairly pointed upwards towards the ceiling. Depending on your posture, you might find that your hips point slightly further back or slightly further forward. Don't try and push yourself into a position that's unnatural, where you'll find that you make yourself uncomfortable. So think about scooping back with the tummy button to about 30% of your overall strength. So if 100% was a really sort of holding feel where you couldn't move, you want to be just at 30%. So it's enough to just keep that stability through the centre, able to keep you in that nice safe position, but it's not so much that you can't breathe. So almost think as if you've got a heavy weight on your tummy, and it's kind of keeping you in that neutral position. So I find it really useful to imagine that heavy weight there, and then you'll find that your back won't start to arch and your tummy won't start to lift up towards the ceiling. So we're going to inhale. As you exhale, you're going to bring one knee up into your tabletop position. So you want to have your knee fairly kind of above your hip, and you want to have your knee at as near as you can to a right angle. And then we're going to just straighten that leg, and we're going to come into a bit of a stretch with the hamstring. So just come to your place that feels like a fairly good stretch. Don't lock your knee, keep the knee fairly soft. You can do this one with or without your hands. I just find it's easier just to keep the leg steady with the hands there. And then once you've found that stretch, you can just increase it a little bit. So just by bringing that leg a little further back towards the body. Remember, keep those that tummy button tucked back, so you're still at that 30% of your overall effort. And then just bend that knee. We'll take that knee down onto the floor. And then, keeping that position, we're going to lift the opposite leg up into your tabletop position, extend, and you can either have your leg without any support from your hand, or you can just bring the hands gently onto the back of the leg. So again, just find that stretch, hold in that position, breathe. Don't forget about keeping nice and stable through the centre, through the core, and then you can just increase that stretch if you want to. Just bring that leg a little further back. And just breathe. Okay, bring that leg down. We'll just do one more on each leg. So inhale, as you exhale, bring that leg up into your tabletop position. Float the leg away so it's straight, and then find that stretch. So it should feel uncomfortable but not excruciating. Keep breathing, keep holding so it's nice and still. You don't want to be bouncing your stretch. It's got to be slow. And bend that leg, take it down, and then we'll do the same with your other leg. So up into your tabletop position, inhale, exhale to float the leg away straight, and then find your uncomfortable position. As I say, it's uncomfortable, not excruciating. And just breathe gently through that stretch. If you can, bring it a little bit closer to the body, but work within your own body. If there's anything that feels horribly uncomfortable, then you feel free to sit it out. Okay, and bring the legs straight. Just bring those knees up towards the chest. Give your back a little bit of a massage. You can just take the knees round in a circle. Just give the lower back bit of a breather a second. And legs back down again. Okay, so I'll give you two different levels for this next exercise. Obviously I don't know who's in the class, so use your own common sense on all of the exercises. Okay, so we're going to bring both those legs up into that tabletop position. Think about that scoot back, that heavy object on your tummy, and we're going to come into some leg extensions. So we're extending that leg straight and then back up again. So this is your level 1. So remember, stay neutral through that pelvis. Okay, or if you want to come into your level 2, you're going to come up with the head and shoulders, and you're going to have those arms just floating. Move slowly. Breathe. Keep that pelvis in neutral. So as you're extending those legs, making sure that back isn't coming up. It's really easy to allow the back to arch. So if you can see here, my arm's going underneath my back. If you're doing it in that position, that's going to really affect your lower back. So that heavy weight and stable through the centre. If you find that having the head and neck, shoulders up is too much, drop back down. Just have your head on the floor. Okay, so we're going to do 2 more on each leg. So 4 total. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep the knees there. Hug them back up to the chest. And just give them rock from side to side. So just take your feet down onto the floor, and you're just going to take those hips from side to side. Just give that back a stretch. You can take the arms out if you want to, just stay a little bit more stable down through those shoulders. You can take the head off into the other direction. So if your knees are going off to the right, take your head turned over to the left, and then swap as you're coming across again. Do 1 more to each side. So again, just hold. And slowly change sides. Good. Okay, so if you just pop up into your seated position. My hair's falling out. And we're just going to come into a bit of a teaser rollover kind of combination. So we're starting off, I'm going to give you 2 different levels for this exercise. I'm going to break it down and do it a couple of times for you. So at the start of your exercise, you're coming forward over your feet. Then you're going to take your hands onto the floor by your hips, and you're going to push back up into your teaser position. Okay, then depending on which level you do, if you're doing level 1, bring your knees together and just rock back so the knees are at the chest. And then take the hands down, straighten your legs back up into that teaser position, and then forward and over your legs. So I'll just demonstrate that one again. As I say, stick within what feels right for your body. So starting off, just gently falling forward. Take those hands by your hips, push back into your teaser position. Knees towards the chest and back. Then hands down, push yourself back up into your teaser position, and forward. So that's your first level. For your next level, similar exercise. We're going to take it all the way over this time. Just hoping you've got enough room. So you're starting off just gently forward, hands back, up into your teaser position, hold there, hands down, push up and over. Oops, haven't got enough room here. And then you're going to come slowly back up into that teaser and forward again. So you might just need to move away from the wall a little bit. I haven't positioned myself very well here. So gently forward, hands, push up into that teaser position, hold, hands there, roll over, and then back up into your teaser, hold, and forward. So I'm just going to shift you down my mat a little bit because I'm ending up kicking the wall. So your level 1, you're coming forward, hands by hips, push up into your teaser, knees in, back. Hold the knees in, hands by the side, pushing back up into your teaser and forward again. Level 2, starting over the legs, back into your teaser, hands down, up and over, and then slowly as you're coming back up into your teaser and forward. So as you're coming back up, so if you carry on, as you're coming back over, make sure that it's not a push and the momentum's taking you. Try and think about replacing that spine gradually. So you're not hoiking yourself back over with your legs. So I'll show you the incorrect way. So you're coming back up into your teaser, hands down, over. So what I don't want to see is that you're sort of going to bring yourself back up. It's got to be a controlled movement. So forward, hands by the hips, up into that teaser, hands down, push over, and slow, up into your teaser. Good. We're going to do 2 more of those. This is quite a nice exercise actually. Hands by the hips, up into your teaser, hands down, push over, slowly, up into teaser, forward, and last one. So starting forward, hands by hips, up into your teaser, hold, arms down, roll over, and slowly, and finish in that teaser position. Good. Okay, so just take the legs into cross position, just gently drop forward, give that back a little bit of a stretch off. Take some breaths, just feel that stretch just around that upper part of your spine. Okay, so we'll just come over onto your hands and knees again and just give that back a nice stretch. So that one we've just done is quite nice at giving that spine a little bit of a massage. So if you find that you're getting any discomfort in the exercises, drop down a level so you're not causing yourself any further injuries. And then just pushing back into your child's pose, just hold the feet. And then we're just going to pop down onto your front and just have a bit of a stretch through your spine. So just take your hands out just gently onto the floor or onto your mat at a right angle. And we're just going to look a little bit at lengthening through your spine. So what I want you to do is try and imagine there's a button in front of you with your head, in front of your head, and you're trying to just push your head into that button. So really think about extending through that spine. So your head's just gently lifted off the mat, not too high, and you're just finding that button in front of you to push. So you might find that it might be a little bit niggly in your lower back, just as you find that stretch. So keep pushing that button with the head. Breathe. Gently keep that tummy button tucked away from the mat. And then keeping that head pushing towards your button, you're just going to keep the hands on the floor and just gently come up with head and chest. Still keep looking for that button in front of the head. And again, pushing away forward to your button, just gently lowering back down. And again, try and find that button. So just gently lift the forehead about 1/2 inch off the mat, and then try and find that button in front of you. Keep those hands pressed down into the floor. So not pressed down as in pushing, but just pressed down so they're not lifting or moving. So just quite grounded onto the floor. And then again, find that button. Feel that lengthening through that lower spine. Breathe. Just enjoy that feel. So you can just kind of visualise your spine just lengthening out of that lower back. Tummy button tucked away. Pushing that button with the head. And then keep the head going towards the button. You're just going to lift, lengthening through that spine again. And again, finding that button with the head, so you're pushing away, drop down, and again find the button with the head, so you're lengthening through that back. You'll probably feel a little bit of a pull through your lower spine as you kind of almost feel as if you're just pulling the vertebrae away from each other, so you're making yourself longer. So finding the button with the head, keep the head just gently lifted about 1/2 inch, and continue to find your button, but you're going to lift. Now arms stay down on the mat, you're continuing to find the button, so long, 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 long through that spine. Don't lift those shoulders. And find the button and just gently lower down. Good. Okay, so just push back up now, push back into your child's pose. So we've done a little bit of extension through the back, just pop it into flexion for a second. You might find that just by doing that exercise, it's just loosened off that back a little bit. So just in your child's pose, you can just hold on to your feet, just extend that stretch a little bit. Breathe. And in your own time, we're going to come down onto our sides. So just extending the head, the arm underneath the head. If you've got a cushion or anything at home, put something that's comfortable underneath you. Just have a look down, make sure you can see your feet in front of you. So you're in a very slight banana shape. Hips stacked over each other. Arm positioning of your choice, so you can have the arm along the top of the body, up above your shoulder, or you can have your arm in front of you. I think, as I said last week, if you find that you start to wobble around side to side, have your hand in front of you, or else you'll be strengthening yourself in a twisted position. And obviously I'm not there to come round and check that. So we're going to start ensuring that we're staying in that neutral position, so the hip stays stacked over the bottom hip, and I'm going to just lift both legs. So not too far, but we just want it so it's hovering. And we're going to think about the underneath leg being sent up towards the ceiling, so it doesn't tend to drop back down onto the mat. We're going to come into your single upper leg lift. So just slowly raising the leg, whichever position you want your arm in. But if you've got your arm up or along the top of the body, make sure that you're able to maintain that position. Make sure that your underneath leg isn't starting to cheat like mine was then. It was deciding it was going to go back down to the mat. So keep that underneath leg activated, pushing up towards the ceiling. And do 5 more. So underneath leg staying as still as possible. 3 more. Keep breathing, keep long, keep level with that hip. 1 more. And rest. Good. Okay, so just bring the knees into a bent position. We're just going to take that upper arm just over behind. Just give that shoulder and that upper back a little bit of a rotation, a little bit of a stretch. And come back into your position. Okay, so we're going to go into the same position this time. So upper leg this time stays still, underneath legs doing the work. So lift and lower that underneath leg. Try and keep this top leg still, because what it will want to do is cheat and go down like that. Got to stay where it's told. And it doesn't matter if your underneath leg doesn't manage to touch your top leg, as long as the top leg is still. So if you can only get so far, that's fine. We're going to do 5 more. So keep breathing. Keep this top leg working so it's staying where it is. Okay, last one. Good. And rest. Again, give those legs a bit of a bend, a bit of a whack on your glute just to get rid of that burn. And then we'll pop over onto your other side. So again, make sure you've got that correct sideline position, a little bit of a banana shape so you can see your feet in front of you. You might find one side, you find it really, really easy to maintain that position, and the other side not so. So as I say, play about with your hand positioning. Really crucial that you're in the best form that you can be, the best shape of the body, the best position. So we're going to start off by lifting both those underneath legs, that underneath leg, I haven't got 2 underneath legs, and then we're going to start with that single leg lift. So remember, this bottom leg needs to be feeling as if it's coming up towards the ceiling, so it's still working. So you've got the added work on the top leg and the underneath leg, where normally you would just be in this position, but now you've got to be in this position. So underneath leg as still as possible. I'm going to do 5 more. Keep breathing, keep that hip above your other hip, nice and long through the body. Lost count now, I think we've got 3 left. So 2 more. Get that underneath leg lifted. And rest. Well done. So you can just bring the knees into that bent position and just take, I've got no room here to do this, but you can just take your arm right over. Just really open up that shoulder. Just a nice twist through that waist. and then back into your starting position. Find that neutral position before you go, so you don't want that hip coming up towards the rib. Nice and long through the body, lifted through the lower leg, and then I'm going to work that lower leg. So top leg still, lower legs working. Keep those hips nicely stacked. You can take your arm up if you want to. Good. We're going to do 5 more. Keep the tummy button tucked back, help keep you stable. Keep breathing. Last 2. Good, and rest. Bend the legs, give that one a little bit of a massage on your glute muscle. Good. Okay, so in your own time, we're going to make our way up into your seated position. And we're just going to take your legs out. If you're sideways on your mat, you want to take the legs out a little bit wider than your mat. And we're just going to take the arms out to the side. So we're going to come into, and this exercise is called the saw. Again, I'm hoping I've got enough room here, I don't hit myself on the wall. So what's going to happen is you're going to take your arm down towards your opposite foot. So inhale, exhale, and the other arm goes backwards. And then back into your start position. Inhale, forward, back. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So keep the breath pattern going. Make sure you come properly up, crown up. So you're not just swinging from side to side. So centre, side, centre, up, and keep the shoulders down. And one more to each side. Keep those seat bones on the floor. Good, and rest. Okay, so just give the shoulders a little bit of a circle around. And we just make our way back down into your cat position. So give that back, a little bit of a stretch. And then tuck your toes underneath. I'm going to come back up into that downward dog. So you might find that your hamstrings feel a little bit looser now. You might find that you can push back, so mine actually go down onto the floor now. And then walk those hands towards that body. You're just going to come slowly up through that spine curl. Just back up into your seated position, into your standing position, sorry. I'll come back down because I can't see anybody from up there. So I hope you've all enjoyed the class this week. Been a bit of a combination of stretching and strengthening work this week. So hope you're all feeling a little bit more stretched now, a little bit more supple, and hope to see you next week. Bye everybody.